Before we begin, do something important. Put this video on full screen. Remove every distraction. No switching tabs, no checking notifications. Because if you truly understand what I'm about to explain, your focus, discipline, and productivity will completely change. Right now, there is one invisible factor controlling how motivated you feel every single day, and most people are unknowingly destroying it. That factor is dopamine. But here's the truth most people misunderstand. Dopamine isn't pleasure. Dopamine is drive. It's the chemical that pushes you to take action, to build something meaningful, to train harder, to improve your life. It's what gives you the motivation to chase difficult goals. The problem is, most people today have completely overstimulated their dopamine system without even realizing it. Step 1. You're destroying your dopamine. Most people think the problem is big entertainment. They blame the 2-hour movie they watched or the long gaming session. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is the constant micro-stimulation happening all day long. It's the 20 minutes of scrolling that quietly turns into an hour, short videos, endless feeds, new content every few seconds. It's fast, effortless, and incredibly stimulating, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. Your brain starts expecting rewards without effort. You wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is grab your phone and scroll. Waiting for food? Scroll. Standing in line? Scroll again. After every single gym set, scroll again. You see it everywhere. Someone finishes a set at the gym and instantly checks their phone. Then later, they complain that they can't focus on studying. They say work feels exhausting. They feel distracted and mentally drained. But the truth is simple. You have trained your brain to expect a reward every 15 seconds. Your brain becomes addicted to constant novelty. And when that happens, normal activities start to feel painfully slow. Studying becomes boring. Working on long-term projects feels impossible. Building discipline feels like torture. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain is overstimulated. Step 2. Resetting your dopamine. So how do you fix this? The answer is surprisingly simple. You start by doing nothing. Literally nothing. Sit down somewhere quiet for 10 to 15 minutes every day and do absolutely nothing. No phone, no music, no videos, no distractions. Just sit there. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will start searching for stimulation. It will want something to do, something to watch, something to consume. That discomfort is a good sign. It means your brain is adjusting. For a long time, you've been flooding your mind with constant noise. Now you're giving it silence, and that silence begins to clear the mental fog. If you practice this daily, something interesting happens. Your mind slows down. Your thoughts become more clear. Simple tasks start feeling easier again. Work doesn't feel unbearable anymore. Studying feels more manageable. Even small accomplishments begin to feel rewarding. That's your dopamine system slowly stabilizing. You don't need extreme detox challenges or dramatic lifestyle changes. What you need is control. 10 to 15 minutes of silence every day can start rebuilding your focus. Step 3. Rewiring your reward system. Now comes the most important shift. Right now, your brain sees scrolling as a reward. You feel bored, you scroll. You feel stressed, you scroll. You finish a task, you reward yourself with scrolling. Your brain has linked social media with pleasure. You need to break that connection. Start seeing scrolling for what it really is: wasted time, lost opportunities, and delayed goals. Think of it like junk food. If you eat junk food every single day, you don't become healthy. Your energy drops, your body suffers, your long-term health declines. Scrolling works the exact same way for your brain. It feels good in the moment, but it slowly destroys your motivation. Instead, you need to make progress addictive. Track your habits, track your streaks, measure your daily output. When you complete important tasks, let that become your reward. When you reach a milestone, let that trigger your dopamine. Hard work should feel satisfying.
Progress should feel exciting. Growth should become something you crave. Step 4. How everyday habits change your dopamine. Many people assume dopamine only changes because of drugs or extreme behaviors, but the truth is much deeper than that. Simple things like food, caffeine, social media, pornography, gaming, and constant entertainment can all affect your dopamine system. Every time you expose your brain to intense stimulation, your dopamine spikes, and every spike is followed by a drop. That drop is what makes normal life feel less exciting. If this cycle repeats over and over, your brain slowly raises the dopamine threshold required for motivation, meaning the same activities that once felt satisfying no longer feel rewarding. That's why some people struggle to concentrate on studying for 20 minutes, but they can scroll social media for 2 hours without even noticing the time. Their brain has been trained to expect high stimulation constantly, and anything slower than that feels boring. But here's the good news. Just like habits can damage your dopamine system, the right behaviors can also restore and strengthen it. Step 5. The power of natural dopamine boosts. One of the most fascinating discoveries about dopamine is that powerful increases in it can happen through simple behaviors. No drugs, no shortcuts, just the right actions. For example, once researchers conducted an experiment where participants sat in water of different temperatures. Some were placed in warm water, some in slightly cool water, and others in extremely cold water. They measured important brain chemicals like cortisol, adrenaline, and dopamine through blood samples. The results were surprising. When participants stayed in cold water for around 10 to 15 minutes, their dopamine levels began to rise dramatically. And not just a small increase, their dopamine levels increased up to 250% above normal levels. That's a massive shift. But the most interesting part wasn't just the increase, it was the duration. Even after participants got out of the cold water, their dopamine levels stayed elevated for hours. This created a very unique mental state, highly alert but calm, focused but relaxed, a state where the mind feels clear, motivated, and ready to perform. And that mental state is exactly what most people are searching for when they want to improve productivity, focus, or performance. Step 6. Dopamine schedules, training your brain to stay motivated. Another powerful concept in dopamine science is something called dopamine scheduling. Your brain learns to release dopamine based on patterns. If rewards come too easily and too frequently, the brain stops valuing them. But when rewards require effort and patience, dopamine becomes more strong and more meaningful. Think about it like this. If you received a reward every minute, eventually it would stop feeling special. But if you worked hard for something over weeks or months, finally achieving it would feel incredibly satisfying. That's dopamine working the way it's supposed to. The key is learning to create effort-based rewards instead of instant rewards. Delay gratification. Work first, reward later. Build systems where progress becomes the source of dopamine. Because when you train your brain this way, motivation stops being something you chase. It becomes something you naturally experience. Step 7. The real secret to long-term motivation. At the end of the day, dopamine is not your enemy. It's actually one of the most powerful biological tools you have. It's what drives innovation. It's what fuels ambition. It's what pushes humans to grow, explore, and build incredible things. But the modern world constantly hijacks this system. Endless entertainment, endless scrolling, instant gratification everywhere. And slowly, without realizing it, people lose their natural drive. But when you understand how dopamine actually works, you regain control. You learn how to protect your focus. You learn how to design habits that increase motivation instead of draining it. And most importantly, you stop depending on quick dopamine hits and start building long-term fulfillment. Because real success doesn't come from chasing pleasure. It comes from learning how to channel your dopamine toward the things that truly matter. And once you master that, so start changing your perspective today. Make progress your default reward. Stop treating scrolling like relaxation. Start seeing it for what it really is, a distraction from the life you actually want to build. The moment you make this shift, everything begins to change. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it.